Everyone. Today we're going to talk about a documentary treatment. I don't know if any of you have written any treatments, but a treatment is a piece that you prepare, usually for a client, to tell them your plans for the video they are hiring you to produce, to write and produce. So you're kind of deciding what you're going to do to produce this video, and you are telling them how you're going to do it. So maybe they're interviewing more than one client or more than one producer, and they want to see a couple different treatments. Sometimes they don't ask for a treatment at all. Actually, most of my clients, I haven't had to write treatments, but if they do, you want to be able to do it. So I'm going to have you do just a simple one, just so you're familiar with the treatment, and if it ever comes up, at least you'll know what it is and know how to do it. So here's a treatment. This is your sample treatment. It's very simple. This is a piece that I produced. The treatment I just wrote for this class, but I actually produced this video for a client. So you're just going to put treatment up here to say that it's a treatment, and you're going to give some information on the left. Who the client is, VFW Home for Children. Who's the writer, Beth Swantek. What's the project? This was Tyler Peak's testimonial of VFW Home for Children. That's the name of it. How many shoot days are we going to need? We needed one, so we have that. Shoot day crew. How many people are we going to need on this crew? A producer, a director. So that was me. I was the producer and the director, meaning I'm putting the whole thing together, and then the day of the shoot day, I am deciding what we're shooting, how we're shooting it, when we're shooting it, pretty much everything. I need a shooter, which is a camera person, and then a production assistant, which is kind of the third person that just helps you wind cords, pick up stuff, grab this, grab that, that kind of thing. The location, VFW Home for Children, Eaton Rapids, Michigan, and the days to edit, 3. So we know that 3 days to edit they're going to have to pay for, and 1 shoot day. And they're going to have to pay for a producer, director, a shooter, and a production assistant, and a writer. I was the writer as well as the producer and the director, and that's not uncommon. Depends on how big the project is. Okay, so then now I'm going to tell my client what I'm going to do, how I'm going to produce this video. A lot of times clients don't know that much about video production. They hire you to do this for them, and they know very little about it. They know they want a video, they know what they kind of want to say, but they're leaving it to the experts to come up with how it's going to be told. Now, this varies. Sometimes you might get a client that knows a little bit. That can happen. More often than not, they don't seem to know a lot. That's why they're hiring you. So Tyler Peak is a man, and we are doing a testimonial. He went to live at this VFW home. A VFW home is a home sponsored by VFWs, Veterans for Foreign Wars, all over the country. They sponsor this beautiful campus in Eaton Rapids, Michigan, south of Lansing, for people to come to and live for up to 4 years to help them get back on their feet. They have to have some association with a veteran. Maybe they are the veteran, maybe they're the child of the veteran, or there's some association. For this young man, Tyler Peak, his father-in-law was the veteran, so he could use it. He had 3 children, and he had just come on some really hard times. So we're going to tell how this VFW home helped him. So that was the purpose of this video. They wanted to produce some videos that they could put on their website so they could raise funds, because they get no federal funding, and they wanted to take it to all the VFW posts across the country to say, here's what we're doing with the money that you're giving to us to support this campus. So that was the purpose of this. So I'm going to tell them what I'm going to do. Tyler Peak's testimonial of his time living at the VFW National Home for Children will be a dramatic retelling of the 4 years he lived at the home and what led up to it. A thorough interview with Tyler, sitting in the living room of one of the homes with soft lighting, will yield his story, beginning with all the troubles that culminated in his desperate situation that left him needing a home for himself and his children. Shots will vary from bust shots to extreme close-ups, depending on the level of emotion in which he is communicating. The interviewer will begin with questions about his former troubles, include how the VFW home has helped his family and offered a better quality of life, and conclude with how the VFW has prepared him to be successful when he leaves the home. So here I'm basically telling the whole idea of what I'm going to do when I sit down with Tyler and interview him. I'm going to get his whole story. I'm going to start with all his troubles. Then I'm going to start with talk about the VFW and how the VFW helped him and he was able to go live there. And then I'm going to talk about how the VFW has prepared him to go be on his own, because after 4 years he has to move out and live on his own. So I'm going to talk about all of that, and I'm going to talk about how I'm going to sit him, what kind of environment. I want to sit him in one of the homes on the campus that was the home that he lived in while he was there. It's going to be cozy, and it's going to have soft lighting, and it's going to look really cool. So I want to tell my client my plans, and that's what this is. Okay, here's my plans. Now I'm going to tell him a little bit more. Both of the Peak children, so this is Tyler Peak's children, will be interviewed and asked what their thoughts are about their father and his diligence in trying to keep his family together. Answers will be elicited that communicate how much the children enjoyed living at the home and how they have been able to be involved in activities that they formerly weren't able to participate in. So I interviewed 2 of the children for this, and I'm looking for very specific answers for them. This piece, this video, is for the VFW home. So it's a propaganda piece, meaning not negative, meaning it's all good things about the home because they're trying to promote the home, they're trying to raise money for the home. So the answers I want out of these kids is not how they were bullied at the home, but how it was a wonderful place to live and they had met all kinds of friends and they were able to do things that they never were able to do. I don't know if they had any negative experiences at the home. It doesn't matter because I wasn't going to be putting that in the video. It was only going to be positive. Okay? All right. And now I'm going to tell a little bit more about what I'm going to do with the video. This piece will be voiceover driven with the back and forth between Tyler telling his story and the voiceover driving it to the next chronological sequence. So I'm going to hire a voiceover artist to tell the story, but I'm going to intersperse it, just like you did in your packages, with sound bites from Tyler and then a few from his children. Sound bites for the children will be sparingly added when appropriate. So I'm not going to rely on the kids' sound bites because kids are traditionally not very good when you interview them. You have to try to help them to get good answers. So I'm just going to get a few of those. But Tyler is going to be telling his story, but I'm going to write the story and the voiceover is going to voice it. And you have my script to look at how I did that. Okay, now I'm going to talk about what I'm going to do for music, because of course that's going to be part of this. The music will set the mood of the piece and match the mood of the sound bites. So when Tyler is talking about all his negative things that are happening, his life is falling apart, he doesn't have a good job, he's going through a custody battle for his children, of course the music is going to be moody and sad to reflect that because I want to set the mood of that. But then when he starts getting help from the VFW, the mood of the piece is going to change. When Tyler is telling about his troubles, the music bed will be moody and sad, and as his life transforms and improves, when he moves into the VFW home, the music bed will change to upbeat. Okay, now I'm going to talk about what we're going to be seeing. We've talked about the music, we've talked about what we're going to be hearing. Now what about the images that we're going to get? The B-roll. The images for the piece will include exterior shots of the VFW home for children that highlight its beauty and idyllic setting. This will include drone shots of the pond, the sign, a few of the different homes, and the community center. Life at the home will be recreated with the Peak family by shooting them playing basketball in the community center, playing pool, and ping pong. Shots will be taken at the baseball field of Tyler playing catch with his son. Intimate shots of the family of 3 will show them sitting together on a couch and talking, as well as separate shots of Tyler with each of the children in different places. So I'm thinking about how am I going to get all these shots? Okay, so when I was with this family, I planned all these shots. We went to the community center. I said, okay, you 3, play basketball. We went to the pool table. They played pool, and we got video of all that. I had Tyler and his son playing catch on the baseball diamond, and then I did another shot of the 2 of them under a tree like they were talking, and we got a bunch of shots. His daughter, we had them on the step of the house talking, so I came up with all different shots to tell their story. Tyler will provide still photos from the years when the children lived at the home. So of course we're shooting this after the fact. They've already moved out, so I can't get any shots of them when they were actually living there. So Tyler is going to provide me still photos, which he did, and I will use those in my piece, as you'll see when you look at it. They will be edited in with the B-roll shots gathered at the VFW campus. So I just told my client how I'm going to visually show the story. I told them the music, and I told them how it's going to, what we're going to use for the audio. Now I'm going to wrap this up. The overall tone of the piece will be emotional and dramatic, culminating in a happy ending for the family as a result of the help received from the VFW National Home for Children. So that is my plan to produce this video. Okay, so you have this to look at, and then you're going to have the script that I actually wrote for this, and then you actually have the video that you can watch what I did. Okay, so that's all your samples to work with. Now, what you're going to do for your treatment is, here's your information. It's a completely different story, and you're going to be writing your documentary for this, but before you write your documentary, I want you to write a treatment on how you are going to produce this. I'm giving you the information here. Focus Hope is an organization in Detroit that helps people, also helps people that are really down on their luck, really helps them a lot with getting jobs and job training, although they do have a food pantry. So that's the organization. It's a nonprofit. So again, this is a video that I created, I produced to help them raise funds. That's kind of oftentimes companies or nonprofits need to raise funds and they need videos. So that's what this is. So that's what you're going to do for your script. Okay? This is your script assignment. But before you write your script, you're going to write a treatment, just like the one I just did. So you will write a documentary script about a man who received a new lease on life with Focus Hope. Focus Hope is a nonprofit organization in Detroit that was formed in the 1960s by a Catholic priest and concerned citizen. Here's their website so you can learn more about Focus Hope, and I would recommend that you read it just to give yourself some background. Okay, our subject, our testimonial, is going to be about a man named Wally Green, who is a man in his late 60s. We don't know his exact age, and that's okay. We don't need to talk about his age. Who, due to losing his job and some other things going on in his life, he became homeless. So basically, Wally was homeless when he got involved with Focus Hope. Eventually, he was able to move into the NSO, the National Service Organization Bell Building, which was subsidized housing next to Focus Hope. This had nothing to do with Focus Hope. It's a completely separate organization, and they helped Wally. That's not what our story is about. It's not about the NSO building, okay? Because when Focus Hope started helping Wally, he was already living here, and they had already helped him. Focus Hope kind of took it from there to try to get him employed and going again. So he was still unemployed, and his life was at a standstill. Then he met this woman named Amber, who works for Focus Hope. She sits at the NSO building and has a table there. And when people walk by that live there, the NSO building is for homeless people. It's to get homeless people off the street. So she takes it from there and meets these people and tries to get them involved in programs to get new training, new job training, things to get them being functioning again. Okay? So she meets Green at one of these tables, and Wally says he kept kind of blowing her off and walking by, but then finally he stopped to see her, and she talked him into taking some classes, which he did, and then he ended up getting a job at Mastic Suppliers. Okay? So this is telling you all about that. And then I have all the sound bites down here. So what I want you to do first is not write your documentary. That's going to be next week. What I want you to do is I want you to write a treatment. How are you going to create this story? What are you going to do? I'm Focus Hope. I'm the client. How are you going to create this video for me? Okay, I want to know. I want to know who are you going to do voiceover? I want to know who you're going to interview. I want to know how you're going to shoot them, where you're going to shoot them, what kind of shots you're going to get, what kind of music you're going to use. So take this treatment that I just showed you, and you adapt it the same format. See, it's not very long. You don't have to do that much. This is a very simple treatment. And I want you to plug in the information from here on how, and use your own creativity to decide how you're going to tell this story. if Focus Hope were to hire you. Okay, so that is your assignment for this week, to write a treatment. This is 1 page and a little bit. It can be, don't go more than 2 pages, you don't need to. Okay, and don't forget your information here. It's probably going to be a 1-day shoot and 3 days to edit. Nonprofits do not have a lot of money, so they are usually not very elaborate. That's why they usually want you to shoot it in 1 day, and then it takes about 3 days to edit, because they're usually on a budget. So that's why we stick to that. Okay, that's it.